Cut the dang music. Nobody wants to hear that shit. What's up, everybody? Hope you're great. Happy Saturday morning. Happy Saturday morning to you all. Hope you're doing great. Hope you've had a great weekend so far. And I hope you're feeling good. Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for being with me. Hope you guys are great. So off the bat, let's talk about a couple things before we get some folks filtered in here. Number one, let me just find this graphic real quick. Coaching, 50% off, 15 slots left. That says 20, but that's a graphic from 4 days ago, just to let you know that how quick things are moving. When those 15 slots are booked, I will have to close the discount. You're saving thousands of dollars on each package, the 1 month, the 3 month, the 6 month. Those of you that have been looking to get on board, now is absolutely the time. I'm not going to run a 50% off coaching for at least 6 months. 6 months. So, I mean, you're talking about 180 days, a half a year until this opportunity to have me one-on-one in your corner to dial in libido and erections on TRT comes about again. So I'll leave that up for the duration of the stream so that you guys remember. Keep it right there. Let's talk about a couple things. Look, title of this stream is Stay Erections, DHT, Fuel Sexual Function, Hybrid TRT, and more. And let's talk about the first part of that. Stay erections. What are stay erections? Well, stay erections, hold on. Later. Okay, I'm going to make sure my mic is working. Stay erections are the type of erections that do not go down. You know, I think when people aren't dialed in on TRT, whether it's estradiol or not enough DHT, it's usually the former. Sometimes a combination of the both of them. Folks might be able to maintain or to gain an erection, but you can't maintain it. It goes down quickly. During sex, you have to focus a little more or a lot more in order to maintain it, and you sort of lose the erection mid-sex or whatever. That's a terrible place to be, and a lot of people that have sexual dysfunction are in that state. And it's relatively easy to fix when you know what to do. What you should be targeting, in other words, a marker for good sexual function on hormones, on TRT, is when the erections come, they stay. You know, the type that in the morning when you wake up, like when you got to go pee, you know, you have an erection. When you're laying in bed, it's just sitting there, you have an erection. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. This morning, you know, I woke up and for 15 minutes just had an erection, right? I'm perfectly dialed in. Feel amazing, strong, anabolic, sleep well, have energy all day, sexual function's great. That's what you want, the stay erections. And there's one thing, aside from estrogen being in range, which is a prerequisite for you, your range, that drives stay erections, and it's DHT. DHT. I am profoundly befuddled at that there are people on the internet that maintain the idea that DHT is useless after puberty. I guess it makes sense because there are people on the internet that suggest all kind of wacky shit. Like go into the paleo and the diet blogosphere, you know, sort of echo chamber, and they have all kinds of wacky fucking ideas that just don't hold true when it comes to physiology, right? Just not backed in the clinical literature if you scrutinize it enough. So I get that people can think wacky stuff. You know, there are channels that think that estrogen itself, estradiol, in a male on TRT doesn't need to be dealt with, doesn't need to be managed, can fall wherever, you know. It's complete bullshit. So I guess I do understand that some people are just misguided. But listen, boys, DHT drives the stay erections. DHT drives the stay erections. That's why sourceless is valuable. You can get the 20% DHT. That's why cream is valuable, because you can add it on your injection protocol, get the DHT you're missing, and have stay erections, the type of erections that do not go down unless you stop thinking about sex or you stop, you know, you move on to something else. Maybe then it ultimately goes down. You want the type of erections that hurt. You know, I start kissing my girlfriend and like, you know, I get an erection that hurts a little bit. It's a little uncomfortable. Need to do something about it. That's what you want. That is the basis for what we do in coaching. It's not just about fixing sexual dysfunction. That's easy. Optimizing erection quality and libido. That's what I do. I love doing it because I know how important it is for men. What's up, everybody? Good morning, brother. All right, let's get to questions. J Futrix. Best tactic for an upcoming week holiday if normal protocol is daily prop. Preload on Enthane, Undecano. Oh, so like you're going away is what you're saying? If you're going to travel, oh, that's a hard one. The best thing that you can do is take everything with you. Why can't you take it with you? Why can't you take it with you? You know, don't think it's inconvenient to take it with you. Yeah, I just had a conversation with a new client yesterday that I'd worked with some time ago about HCG, and he was just sort of fretting about the inconvenience of taking HCG somewhere. Fucking take it. Fucking take it. Get yourself a little mini cooler. Get yourself some ice packs. You spend $17 on Amazon for that. Prep it and take it with you. I'm going to Florida in September, and you know what's coming with me to Florida? Test, Cypionate, injection needles, test cream, and fucking HCG. It's coming with me. That's it. That's what you do. You know, like you don't want to run the risk of dialing out. You know, you could dial in quickly if you're good at it, but you don't really want to run that risk. If you absolutely cannot take it, if you're gone for a week, you have to determine what amount of testosterone at once can sustain you for 7 days, you know, can sustain you for 7 days. For me, that's about 250 milligrams of cypionate or anything, about 250 milligrams. And still, I'll probably be a little tired at day 6, right? I clear test a little quick. You have to figure out, you know, what will sustain you. Dream big. Proviron ever solve insomnia caused by Accutane or finasteride, where androgen starvation at the brain tissue level, is causing impaired signal to GABA system where pregnant LSF is not enough. Well, first of all, I think you have some implications here that might not be correct, so let's scrutinize those. Androgen starvation at the brain tissue, we don't have a direct link for that causing issues with GABAergic neurotransmission. I think the thing that would most cause issues with GABAergic neurotransmission would be a failure to produce adequate allopregnanolone and a failure to produce adequate DHEA, and the 7 hormones DHEA converts to, which are GABA-A allosteric modulators. So that's really what causes that. Now, because some of that is 5-alpha reductase dependent, finasteride can cause this issue. I mean, it completely can. A lot of folks that have PFS have anxiety and derealization and depersonalization and all kinds of other wacky shit. So it's not the androgens themselves. It's more the neurosteroids in this case. But Proviron in that, considering what I just said, would not address the issue directly. It might help. You know, it might help. Proviron usually does because it acts like DHT, but it's not optimizing conversion of hormones to other necessary neurosteroids. It's just not doing that. Simon Stone, what's up, bro? Hope you're great. Your last video spoke about a protocol with someone using Clomid to keep testicles functional. High androgens are just as suppressive, though. Surely this wouldn't work, which is why we use HCG. No, it will work. It will work. The guy's also controlling estrogen with 6.25 milligrams of Aromasin every other day. It's either 6.25 or 12. Pretty sure it's 6.25. So he's controlling estrogen as it stands. So there's not the only reason androgens would be suppressive of testicular function is via estradiol binding to receptors in the pituitary gland. That's why. Because that guy's controlling estrogen 1, and at the same time he's blocking estrogen receptors with Clomid 2, he won't shut down. So yes, it does work. Remember, what Clomid is doing, I'm not saying this is a good drug. It just works for that person. I think there are much better options, and I wouldn't suggest using Clomid. It just happened to work for that guy. You know, he's on the comments on our channel, so you can see his post. But, you know, Clomid is making you make luteinizing hormone and FSH, so it's signaling to the testes to stay alive. That's just it. Valister, is it possible to somehow not enough conversion to DHT from 100 milligrams test P every other day? Well, I suppose it's possible, but you would really have to have either a prolactinoma, prolactin secreting tumor, which is a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor in and of itself, prolactin, high prolactin otherwise via kratom, sometimes pot, or have taken a hair loss drug or running lots of curcumin, which is a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, or something like saw palmetto, which is also a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. Yeah, because with 100 milligrams of test P every other day, there would be no reason physiologically why you couldn't convert enough tests to DHT. In fact, you'd get a lot. I mean, if you're running that and you're having hair loss, you have the DHT. You know, it's entirely possible estrogen is just too high. I couldn't run that without having to control E2. Not many people could. So those are the only reasons you would have a problem in conversion. And if you don't have those reasons, you don't have a problem in conversion. But you ought to get to Quest or LabCorp to get DHT labs so that you can prove this. You can't sit around in theory mode. You cannot do that. Everybody, if you've got theories about what's wrong, what's happening with TRT, unless you're a seasoned fucking veteran, you can do that by working on your own protocol for 3 years, 4 years, and you tried a lot. But even that really doesn't guarantee. You got to be working with people or seeing a lot, or you scour all the information on Reddit and you compute it like a fucking savant. You can't go off of how you feel in these situations. Get the labs. Prove it. Act like a scientist. Mike, thank you for the super chat. Brother. Appreciate that, brethren. Thanks, dude. Honestly, really appreciate it. Does testosterone increase CRP levels and cause health issues? So why is that concerning? Can someone with heart scarring undergo testosterone therapy? Can't give you medical advice regarding that. You talk to a medical professional about that. I would ask ChatGPT that question. I would ask the advanced reasoning version of ChatGPT that question. And I would also cross-reference that with Google searches of that, reading Google's AI's answer and reading some articles. I would also throw some of those keywords into PubMed and read so that you can get to the answer to that question. Testosterone exogenously generally does not increase C-reactive protein levels. No. Jay Futrix is more concerned about taking needles. Suppose you can get them from a pharmacy abroad. Yeah, you usually can. You should be able to. If I were you, I would call said pharmacies and confirm that before you go. In the context of having prescribed testosterone with you, TSA, etc., should not take your needles, but it's got to be in the checked bag, not the carry-on. You can't bring a fucking needle in the carry-on bag. Velister, 2 cents. That might help you as it did with me. Use the CRP rises from carrier oil. Have you proven that? Or is that a theory? Because I can guarantee you that the pharmaceutical companies would not be able to get away with putting carrier oil in their product if it raised C-reactive protein. I think that's a little far-fetched. Joshua, did you experience anything different when running 90 BC on a higher DHT protocol like cream versus slower esters like lower DHT? Not really. Listen, if you have more DHT, you're have a more of an antidepressant-like effect, and it's going to feel good. More of a masculine effect, and that's going to feel good. And that might affect brain chemistry. It usually does, particularly libido. But 9-MeBC is its own animal. It's preventing the clearance of many neurotransmitters, primarily the excitatory ones, and it is making you project, or make, I should say, new dopaminergic neurons. So totally different things here, but I can't say that there was a whole lot of a difference. I run it for 30 to 40 days, 20 to 40 milligrams usually over the years, and I just feel fucking awesome, more motivated, more into life. My libido is slightly higher just because of the more dopamine. I cycle off of it and everything's still great. Have you ever tried injecting HCG IM? I have. And it seems for me personally to clear the system too quick. I'm also dialed in perfectly on 330 IU of HCG a day, with 112 milligrams a test, doing that daily. It's 16 milligrams daily in the glutes, upper glutes, 5/8 inch needle, 20 milligrams DHEA in the morning, 25 milligrams, 100 milligram per milliliter transscrotal testosterone cream for the DHT. And I've got fucking stay erections, boys. Erections that don't go away. Libido's great. Sensation's great. Climax is easy. It's where it just dialed in. That's what I do. A Sidhu. Clomid works great, but enclomiphene works better. Interesting observation. Dream big. Is Cabergoline a restorative compound to dopamine at any level? It is not. Nope. All Cabergoline does is for about 60-something hours, to lessening degrees over that 60-something hours, bind to dopamine D2 receptors in your pituitary gland. That's all Cabergoline does. I mean, it's got some serotonin 5-HT series agonism and antagonism too, but largely it's a dopamine D2 receptor that agonist that is not restoring anything except for, hypothalamus pituitary dopaminergic tone, specifically preventing lactotropes from secreting prolactin. That is what it does at its core. Again, boys, coaching, 50% off. This is the biggest discount I have ever run on coaching. These are one-on-one packages with me. I am managing your protocol. I am thinking about your protocol. I'm deciding what to do with your protocol. I'm cross-referencing your situation with other situations. I'm tailoring protocols to your unique situation, primarily in the interest of fixing libido and erection issues, dialing in perfectly on TRT for all the things you want on TRT. I'm a specialist, guys. 50% off right now. Hire me. Let's get on board. Yeah, I'll be on the phone with you, me and you on the phone Monday. And then fucking Geronimo, brother. You want the best experience of your life, bring me on board. This is what I do. I'm a professional. People from all around the world hire me, and we get results. The lister back at the DHT from Test P question. So this guy is questioning whether or not 100 milligrams of Test P every other day can provide enough DHT. The answer is definitely it can. A lot of DHT, unless you've taken 5-alpha reductase inhibitors. I did labs. Prolactin is in range. E2 isn't sensitive, so sometimes in range, sometimes out. But I did get the DHT gel, and I feel amazing, like a night and day difference. That's incredible. That's good. I mean, DHT itself is an antidepressant, no matter if you're converting from your test or not. So that would make sense. You need to run labs when you're just on that prop to see where DHT is. I think that's the bottom line, brother. Ryan. Heard you talk about rhodiola in the past. Yep. What else do you recommend for supporting serotonergic system to become less cognitively, emotionally rigid and free up my mind some? It's a difficult one, because you push serotonin too far, you start inhibiting dopamine firing. You don't want to do that. Quite honestly, a little bit of 5-HTP was what I would say. Otherwise, it's less serotonergic and more antioxidant based, but you could try saffron. Saffron's pretty effective for that. That'd be about it. Nemo, it's a little unorthodox, but if I hired you, would you be willing to help create me a HCG DHT protocol to treat mild PFS? If it fails, I'll hop on test. Wanted to try this first, though. Okay, so here's the problem with this. Number one, if you want to do that, you can hire me, but you should hire me for 3 months or more. First of all, I'm not doing PFS for 1 month. It's not enough time. Secondarily, if this fails, which it absolutely has the ability to fail, particularly because you can't make enough estradiol unless you megadose HCG, and even then, so you might not be able to because DHT itself is inhibitory to estradiol at the gene level. So this is a good idea. This is what you're doing is you have an idea of what you want to try first. But if you were to ask the professional, I would say don't do that. Don't do that. You should get that out of your head. You should get that out of your head. If you want to try that, minimum 3 months. Right now, if you use the discount, you're saving $2,500 on that. Yeah. So if you want to do that, we can run that for the first month. But, in order for us to dial in, we've got 2 additional months left. We have to be efficient. We can't be running protocols that you think are good or that you might want to do. If you have some sort of apprehension about going on test, this is what some of you PFS folks need to understand. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. If you have PFS, you're in a position of atrophied penile tissues, a lack of blood flow, potentially fibrosis, downregulated, dysregulated, dysfunctional DHT in the sex organs, in the brain, a lack of very potent neurosteroids and mineralocorticoids in the brain via lack of 5-alpha reductase. You don't have fucking time to not want to go on test because you think fertility or whatever other nonsense that you think. Okay. You're going to find if you bring me on board, I am a no bullshit guy. I am here to get results and I'm here to help you recover. Doing HCG and DHT, not the first thing I would do. But bring me on board, man. If 3 months or more though, and we can try it if you want to. But I have had very limited success with protocols like that. Also curious of my thoughts on psilocybin. I think microdosing is pretty cool. Yeah, it there was a 2-week period where I was dosing 200 milligrams a day of powdered psilocybin that I had found procured on the web. And I just remember having a profound antidepressant effect and a profound happiness, just a general, I think I was just more pleased with everything in life. And it's kind of cool. I think it eventually sort of faded off. And then I ended up dosing 800 milligrams one night and had a terrible time because there were some bad things happening in my life and it actually gave me a fucking bad trip. So just be careful. Brother, dream big. Talk to me, brother, about all the awesome stuff about Proviron. About to start 25. Proviron at 25 a day. If your test is low enough, like, below 130 a week, then it's probably going to be able to manage estrogen enough to get you in the sexual zone if you're just a little bit above that. Depends on how you aromatize generally. But Proviron is the craziest drug for drying you out and giving you giving you the round shoulder look. It's gonna like this here. One of the reasons that people that like are physique conscious and are on gear, as an example, or any steroids, because Proviron is a steroid, have shoulders that look crazy. Like when I'm at the gym, my shoulders look fucking nuts, is because there's less water under this tissue. There's less water. Now, I have DHT in my protocol via scrotal cream. So that's a part of it. But when I ran Proviron, it was much more gnarly. It was much more gnarly. When I'm lean, I look fucking, just ridiculous with it. Now like that I don't have a ton of DHT in the system. That's my physique. This was a few weeks back. This is kind of just after chest day at the gym, which, also works shoulders. And there's obviously a good degree of vascularity there. But if I was on Proviron, even 25 milligrams a day, there would be more of a shredded look. You'd see more veins, that'd be more vascular and that sort of thing. So no matter what dose of Proviron, assuming it's 25 milligrams or more, you're going to notice things in your physique. If you're lean enough to see it. If you're not, might see a little bit, lean enough to see it though, it totally changes your physique. Second thing about Proviron is that, well, first of all, if you're in your estrogen range or close to it, it's just going to enhance sexual function. If you're a little over, it's going to enhance sexual function. Climaxes will be easier. The climax reflex, the reflex of your climax, like, how it sort of shoots out is going to be enhanced. Sensation will be better, all that stuff. EQ is usually substantially better on the right protocol with the right amount of Proviron. Lastly, though, I mean, if you think about what a calm, stoic, confident dude is, how he handles stress, how he handles girls, how he handles business, how he handles money, how he handles life. Proviron puts you in the mental state to be like the most maximized version of that, or as close to that as possible. Just a stone cold fucking killer. DHT makes you that way. That's why it's so really awesome. Okay? There's no nootropic that can even touch that. That can even touch how powerful Proviron is for the mental side of things. Simon Stone, couldn't the use of Clomid negatively affect libido since it's blocking estrogen receptors? Yes, and it does often. Joshua, what's the best way for someone to recover heal GABA function and other brain functions after a phenibut addiction? I mean, you might be looking at some neurogenic drugs. I mean, possibly 9-MeO-BC, right? But that's primarily dopaminergic. But does enhance some neurotrophic factor signaling in the brain. Honestly, lots of time off of it. A lot of cardio exercise would be one of the ways. Some deep meditation, if you can try to get good enough at it to where you can get in the gamma state. It's defined by a very particular measurement of electrical frequency in your brain. Those are some of the ways that theoretically you could do it. Otherwise, you might be looking at nootropics like fasoracetam to try to upregulate GABA, and at the same time, neurosteroids, DHA, pregnenolone, they're ensuing metabolites, which are positive modulators of the GABA receptor. JC, Skate Hills. Any experience or tips with bromontane? Just started 50 milligrams daily, trying to boost dopamine after taking Abilify last month, which is dopamine blocker. Well, I think you're just going to have time to get off the Abilify and let things balance out. You'd be better off taking 9-MeO-BC in this case. The Lister, Can't guarantee I won't ask on the next one. Well, you can ask as many as you want, brother. Where would be the best spot for DHT gel? Scrotum. Scrotum. Yeah, scrotum. You just want it available to the sex organs, and you're gonna get it at the most maximized potency, putting it on the scrotum because it's just vascularized skin. A lot of 5AR there. They don't need the 5AR, but it converts right to it and will optimize the local 5AR according to theory in the scientific journals about DHT and optimizing 5AR enzymes. So I'd put it on the scrotum. You also don't need as much if you do that. You don't need nearly as much. You're just getting straight DHT to the sex organs, which you need and would be phenomenally good. Phenomenally good. Happy friend, can Primo and Masteron contribute to healing PFS? Listen, guys, you have to think about what question are you asking? You'll never fix your PFS if you're not nuanced. Can Primo or Masteron contribute? In what context? In the context of test and HCG? In the context, what are you trying to achieve there? Do you know that estrogen can't be above 30 in the cases of PFS? Do you know that also inhibiting aromatase, which you'll do with both of those compounds, can also blunt libido if it's done non-judiciously? Even in some cases, some people just can't respond to it at all, don't respond to AIs or DHT derivatives in the estrogen reduction capacity at all, where they can maintain sexual function. It's too general of a question, which means you're asking yourself too general of a question. You're shooting in the dark. You're believing in the tooth fairy. Like, I'll just take some Primo and Masteron and whatever else, and I'll just get better. You need a targeted approach from an understanding of what works to resolve DHT starvation-induced sexual dysfunction. And, sometimes that's a laundry list of things, but it is a very particular protocol. I mean, those are the kind of things you got to bring a specialist on board for. No doctors are really able to help you. Here's one other coach on PFS. His name is Alex Kickle. I know him personally, and he's a smart fucking dude. And otherwise, there's me. Dream big. Have you come to the conclusion that the body cannot recognize the difference between oral DHT gel to Proviron? No, I have not come to that conclusion. The body recognizes the difference. Yeah, you'll see your SHBG lower further on Proviron versus DHT. You'll notice probably the same degree of hair loss if you're dosing it too high, DHT, and Proviron, or if 25 sometimes can start nuking your hair. Just depends on you. The body certainly recognizes the difference between the two of them. Yeah, one is DHT and the other is methylated DHT. They're different. They're different potencies relatively. And they're somewhat similar half-lives, but DHT exits the system faster. And oral DHT or gel, and one is transdermal and one is oral. So no, they're different. They're different. JL Montaigne, what's up, bro? Been doing 30 minutes of cardio every day for 5 weeks now. Blood pressure lower. Congratulations. That's exactly what it does. Congratulations, brother. I think I have lower end blood pressure. It never goes above range. It's always lower than normal because I've been doing cardio for 20 years. Running on and off, but largely on. 20 straight years. That's 2 decades of running. My body I have lower blood pressure as a result. And I still do cardio. These days I don't run. I mean, I haven't ran in some time. I'm walking, though, a few miles at a time with my girl lately. You got to do it. You got to do the cardio, boys. You must do the cardio. Like, first of all, exercise generally is, in addition to a healthy diet and sleep, what keeps you alive longer, keeps you healthy, keeps your liver detoxing toxicants, keeps your brain healthy. But like the blue zones, which are characterized by people who live to 100 or more, there's a laundry list of things they do. It's just a list. And if you execute those, you're probably going to get close to being able to live to 100. They're not genetically predisposed to live that long. But, they drink a little bit of red wine. They eat a lot of vegetables. They have a sense of community. They're always walking. They do a lot of fucking walking. They're not going to the gym. They're not lifting weights. They're not running. These people walk. Cardio It's phenomenal. You need to do it. Everybody needs to do the cardio. However you can figure out how to do it, you know. Sometimes it's painstaking and boring. Because if it's winter time and you have to go to the gym and walk or run on the treadmill, you got to do it. You got to do it. Or you could just be a gangster like me. I live in Pittsburgh where it's cold as fuck in the winter, and I just suit the fuck up. I wear a face, you know, one of those face, it's like a beanie, but for your face, and a hat, multiple layers, cold weather gear, and I will go walk in the 0 degree weather, you know, 10 degree weather, call it 0. It's kind of pushing it. I have done it before though. I've done it before. And I was warm enough because I suited up. So be a gangster and go do that in the winter. That's what you do. That's how you feel like a man. You do gangster shit, man. Seriously. 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 Seriously, boys. Coaching, 50% off right now. Again, I'm the guy that when people can't help their libido and erection issues on TRT, they've tried literally everything. Every ester, every dose. We get it resolved in a month. We get it resolved quickly. Yeah, I just know what to do. I've been in these situations for 7 years, going on 7.5 years. Like I've worked with the hardest cases. The hardest cases usually end up in my inbox, and we resolve those problems. At the same time, TRT, dialing in on it, is not easy necessarily. Some people get lucky. 150 milligrams, 200 a week, 1 injection, 2 injections a week, a little bit of HCG. They're great. Everything works. Not all people are like that. I am a specialist at dialing people, and it is what I have done for years. It is what I pride myself on being good at. You know, I think there's a lot of other coaches that are good, but I think I'm one of the best in the world. I have a lot of experience in this. Hire me, livecortex.com, 50% off right now. Code is on the screen. It's coach discount. Moment you hire, we're on the fact-finding call within a day, sometimes that day. Dream big. Does Proviron have the ability to increase fiber even when all on finasteride? I do not think so. I do not know, but I do not think so. The best you can do while on finasteride is use exogenous DHT on the scrotum. That's the best you can do. You know, keep the testicles functional, because everybody that has PFX ends up with either lower end or actually deficient luteinizing hormone levels. I've seen the bloods. It's another thing that we can definitively say goes wrong in that condition. You don't want that. So I'd be taking DHT. The better answer is never take finasteride. Never. Nemo, do daily injections have to be strict timing? Yes. Yes. HCG, yes. I would not be doing 7 to 10 a.m. If you want to dial in perfectly, do everything at the same time. Mine is 9:30 in the morning, 9:30 a.m. There's a timer set. There's a reminder set. If I'm at my chick's house and I'm going home, I know to do it anyway, but I set the reminder. 9:30 comes on. My phone flashes. Fucking inject. Do it then. Do it then. You know, again, that's part of dialing in. I mean, you're asking a specialist on dialing people in if you could be hazy about the times. No, you should not be. Yeah, you want to be surgical, man. You want to be like Nikki Mace is with Baccarat and Blackjack. You like Dana White is on Blackjack. You want to be a fucking professional, man. Joshua, gave my girl the meat 2 hours after I put on cream, and she definitely felt it the next day. The next morning, she was running around and had a bunch of energy. And I won't be doing that again. Yeah, transdermal testosterone can transfer to your girl. My girl touched, because I had a little bit of it that wiped off on a napkin. And my girl touched the test cream and then went like this. And then she put a little on her leg and didn't realize what it was, and then realized it was test cream yesterday. And she felt extremely hungry when she got home. She was a little nauseous. Then she was a little tired. Then she had buckets of energy for hours after that. And she was horny. So it can happen, bro. You know, it's transdermal DHT or transdermal test cream. So it will filter out within 24 hours, and 36 hours is pretty much gone. And the effects are gone, maybe 48, but max 2 days. But you got to be careful with that shit. I put it on, the cream. I'm running 25 milligrams a day with an injectable. So I'm on a hybrid protocol, which is phenomenally working. I put that on after the shower at 9:30 in the morning, and I'm not having sex with my girl after that for 4 hours, just because I don't want her to get that on her. Darren, do you think you can get away with every other day injections on a hybrid protocol with cream instead of doing daily injections? You could, but it all depends on where estrogen is going. The whole point of doing a hybrid injection is to do a low dose injectable at 100 to 110 milligrams a week, call it 80 to 120, and then add a little bit of cream because with that lower dose injectable, you get the E2 in your range usually. You can if you find your dose and you don't over aromatize. And then you add a little bit of cream for the added DHT. When estrogen's in range and then you have more DHT, you're going to be phenomenal. Not too much DHT, but you'll be a sex machine, and the erections will be crazy. But the whole point of it is you're trying to prevent overages in estradiol. And the more you inject at once, less frequent, even though every other day is like pretty good, the more risk you run of not only fluctuating estradiol levels, which is not particularly great for sexual function, and number two, higher than you would want them to be, at least at their peak. They're going to trough back down, but some will spill over. Can you get away with it? You can try. If you're shooting for the target of in-range E2 and good sexual function, I wouldn't try. I wouldn't even do that. If it's inconvenient for you, get off test. Get off test. Get off test. Inconvenient. What's inconvenient about doing what needs to be done? Nothing. That's how you should think. Do you have any interest in injectable DHT? At the moment, I don't have interest in either of those. Just don't need it. No interest in experimenting with it. I mean, I've got, in my opinion, one of the best modalities of DHT in a dropper vial, where it's measured by in 0.25 milliliter increments, where I can dose one drop and get 10 milligrams of DHT, or 10 drops and get substantial amounts of DHT for whatever reason. I don't need to inject it. Transdermal is fucking amazing. Happy friend, I bought the 20% DHT. It was supposed to be for skin application. I took it the sublingual route. I experienced stoic confidence. Hope I'm not crazy for doing that. No one's ever tried that I know of. I've not tried that, but it would make sense that it would work. I mean, it's supposed to be permeable to your skin, and if you're putting it under your tongue where you've got those blood vessels, which then take the drug systemically quickly, then yeah, that's going to work. That's going to work. I don't know how that would taste, but good. I guess it's not terrible for you. It's not going to kill you or anything, but I've never done that route. I'm perfectly happy putting, all DHT like stuff on the scrotum, and it works really well. Nemo, now that you're using DHT for microdosing, you find more use for Injectable? Not really. Nope. Not really. I mean, again, I'm not using DHT itself. I'm using a well converting to DHT test cream. Yeah, from Hollandale, a company called Hollandale, pharmacy called Hollandale, and 100 milligram per milliliter cream, 25 milligrams on the scrotum in the morning. So I'm not using DHT now. I have in the past. I've run many experiments, but I still have I have 1.5 dropper vials of DHT, pure 20% shit, And Dractim, I think because of the price, you probably don't want to waste your time on it. You don't want to waste your time. It's a lot of gel to put on at once if you're trying to get a reasonable dose. You probably just don't want to waste your time with it. Yeah. I mean, just get the DHT from Source List and go to town. Don't know what that is, brother. Valister, the first man to really talk about DHT, and you got me hooked. Awesome. Yeah, I know. I mean, again, it blows my mind that there are people on the web that are purporting the idea that DHT is not necessary. I mean, if you don't have DHT in the womb, progesterone makes you a fucking woman. I mean, just think about that. It's the sole hormone that makes you a man. Otherwise, progesterone's agonizing progesterogenic action and progesterone receptors, and you're a woman. You don't develop male sex organs in that case. Your mother's human chorionic gonadotropin converts to testosterone, is reduced to DHT via 5-AR to make you a man. There's no proof, and there's no sensible reason. It's actually a ridiculous idea that after puberty, DHT, which does all these things and maintenances erections, is useless. There's no rationale for that. All there is people that are on the hair loss journey and have been conditioned to vilify DHT. But I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy because I see the other side in practice for years and years now. Guys' lives ruined. Penises shrunk, actually. Bloodless, lifeless, white-looking, numb penises. Zero libido from lack of DHT. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Steve Wonderful, currently on a hybrid of 3 clicks, 20%. Cream, 10 milligrams prop at 8:30 a.m. What's the best time to get labs? Depends on what you're trying to see. I think that you want the peak and the trough. So run labs at about 16 hours post application. It's hard because cream and prop are different half-lives. The DHT with cream peaks at hour 6, roughly. The test peaks a little earlier than that. So you're going to have to take blood at different times. You got to know the half-lives of each of these things and then run it at the peak and trough. That's all, which is going to be hard to do because you have two things at once. Ultimately, if it were me and I was trying to find numbers from that, injecting in the morning and applying in the morning, I would run labs on TT, free T, E2 sensitive, DHT at between 3 and 6 p.m. And I'd be close to the peak. I'd be at the peak at TAST and DHT with the cream, but the prop would still be heading up there. But you'd get an idea at that point. And then trough would be, an hour before you inject and apply the stuff. Dangerwood, great name. That'd be a cool name to name a kid. These days, everybody's just all silly with their kid's name. The Caden, Aiden, and Braden's. Braden. Brand. What is the one I heard recently? It was just so ridiculous. These combo names. Why? Name him Michael, please. Name her Stephanie or Stacy or Jennifer or something. But he's not Braden. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, I don't know if you know why we got on that question. But anyway, I was gonna say Dangerwood would be sufficient though. Don't name her Kaylee. Don't name your kid, what's the other one? Caden. Name him fucking Dangerwood. Stop with these weird names. 300 milligrams test, 750 IU HCG per week. E2 is through the roof. Does this explain why I'm tired all the time? No, the high E2 won't make you tired. It could. It actually could. It's more likely you're just, running too much tests. That will pass. There's all manner of different causes for this. One, elevated hematocrit could theoretically cause this. It's unlikely though. Secondarily, if you're not used to that much test, you could just have test flu. Look it up. Test flu is a real thing. Some people think it's carrier oil based. I do not believe that. I think it's immunogenic metabolite of test that your body is not used to, but you will get used to it over time. Get the E2 down would be, one thing to start. At the same time, even if you do that, that might not solve the problem completely. Joshua, ever hear about using adamantane for a refractory period? No. Jay Gosh, I remember something called Andropoppers by Pinnacles, basically androstenedione. This stuff was great. Great erections, instant libido, ejaculum. Wish I could find some. Can't help you there. Can't help you there, brother. Can't help you there. Not entirely sure if that would be sustainable either, over time. Boys, if you're just jumping on coaching 50%, again, I'm the guy that when people have devastating sexual dysfunction, they go to because they've tried everything else. I'm also the guy that when people are on TRT and trying to dial in sexual function, libido, erections, and are having issues with whatever ester have tried a lot, that we get these situations resolved in under a month sometimes, at least on the right track, on the right protocols. For those of you with serious sexual dysfunction, you're probably going to want 3 months or more. But right now it's 50% off. Okay. This is the cheapest coaching with me has ever been in history. You'll save thousands of dollars on every program. Just book me livecortex.com. The moment you do, I'm reaching out to you. We schedule the fact-finding call, usually within 24 hours, sometimes that day. You're on the phone with me. And now me and my thinking and all my previous cases and all the data and the way my brain works around this stuff, kind of like a savant, I'm in your corner. You've got me focusing on your protocol. That's the value. Book me livecortex.com. Any other questions, boys? If you got them, ask them. Gonna take a sip of some Lightning Blast Gatorades. This is a new flavor. It's like the best flavor. Love being hydrated too. Feels good. Feels good. I don't know what you guys are up to, gentle brothers, but I can tell you this. I'm kind of not ready for the fall. Fall's fine. You know, just winter's going to suck. I live in Pittsburgh and winters pretty much suck here. Still going to go out and do cardio, though. Still going to go out. Me and my girl, we're still going to go out to our place. We're just going to suit up. Just going to suit up. We like to have coffee in the morning together outside. We're going to suit up and go outside. I'm gonna convince her ass. Get the warm stuff out. Let's go out front. Let's have our coffee like we normally do. Let's have our coffee. Can't wait. Can't wait, actually. Fuck it. Let's go. Live streams are usually 10 a.m. Anywhere between 10 and 11 a.m. is when they start, and they usually last about an hour. It depends on how many questions are there and what folks are asking and how deep I might have to go into things. So we've talked about a lot, guys. We've talked about stay erections. These are you always want to target in a TRT protocol the type of erections that stay. They stay and they mildly hurt. That's what you want. That's what you want. That's the indication you are either perfectly dialed in or very close. Very close. Anybody on TRT, anybody can get themselves with the right guidance or the right strategy to right around the sweet spot where you see, wow, the benefits are right there in terms of erections, libido, right there. And I just need to oscillate one thing or the other a little bit. Once you get in that narrow window, it's about super short strokes, boys. Anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. Just have to know what to do. Just have to know what to do. What else? Content this week, all week. I might skip a day, but I have been hammering the content. There's a lot to talk about. You know, I brought on a lot of people, and I'll be bringing on more. I've got 15 slots left on coaching until this discount goes away. And just a lot of individual experiences and a lot to think about. And there's always stuff to talk about. I mean, for years now, I'm inundated with coaching, with requests, with situations, with bloods, with anything you can think of. And so I've got a lot on my mind. I've got a lot of content, to talk about. Lots. It's endless. So this week, look forward to that. Hope you guys are there. The channel's growing. I'm pretty happy with it. We had a pretty big lull for a while after being banned by YouTube several times for no good reason. And now the channel's finally starting to grow again, which I'm happy about. Thankful for you folks being here, supporting that. And just having fun over here. So look forward to the content this week, boys. If there's no other questions, I think I'll kill the stream. If you guys got nothing else for a brother. For a brother. Hey, brother. What up, brother? All right. Let's kill the stream. No more questions. Thanks for your questions, guys. Again, I'll be with you all this week. So, look out for that. Make sure you've got noties on because I'm pumping out content by the day. New shit. Good, valuable stuff, all geared toward dialing in on TRT, specifically around sexual function. That is what we do. If you need to hire me again, just go to livecortex.com, go to the coaching tab, pick what you want with me. You've got me one-on-one in your corner thereafter immediately. Use the code Coach Discount. You book. That's it. You're saving thousands of dollars, and we're scheduled. The moment you press that button and we're booked, you're in. That's it. All right. When I reach the end of this 15 open slots, the discount goes away. So get it done as soon as you can. Thanks everybody for the questions. Have a great weekend. Rock on, kick ass. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye. 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 Hmm.